Sometimes it'll be like, just give a cute expression. But I'm like,
Why?
what is a cute expression firstly? Like, what qualifies as a cute
What's
expression?
cute for you may not be cute for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, the first ever official photo shoot that I got done was during the Miss India. I was booked for a few shoots and they all cancelled after the first, modeling gig that I did. And I felt so bad. And I was like, am I really good at it? Because I just won Miss India. Like, am I not good enough for this? The most important thing in this industry is to have a very thick skin.
Are you a loser? Are you a freak? Do you need a lover? Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't bother me.
Welcome to Real Strugglers, where we talk to real filmmakers and actors about their struggles working in the chaotic world of films. Today, our guest is Meenakshi Chowdhury.
Thank you.
So, Meenakshi, how did you get into Telugu films now? Because, you have no connection to the South, right?
Right. So basically what happened was I was doing one of this workshop, an acting workshop that was happening in Bombay.
Which one?
And Atul Mongia's acting.
Oh, Atul Mongia, that's a
Yes.
good one.
So that's where I happened to have another person who was from the Telugu film industry at the time, but I had no clue about it. So, you pair up in these workshops so that you can do scenes together. And so throughout that entire workshop period, he was made to be my partner. And nobody's supposed to tell what they do, basically, where they're from and all of that. So it's just basically these people doing these several exercises and acting gigs that are given to us every other day. And it's on the end day of the workshop is when everybody gives the formal introduction of where they're from, what are they doing, and, why are they here. That's when I kind of discovered that my partner was actually somebody who's working in the Telugu film industry. He was an actor, Sushant. At that time, it was before the end day, one of the days when we were doing a workshop together, is when he asked me, like, are you, interested in doing Telugu films? I said, sure, why not, as long as I get to act. Language does not really hold me back from taking an acting gig. That was all the conversation that we had. And cut to 6 months later, I get a call saying that, we saw your audition and we really think you'd be fit for the role. And I was like, what audition are you talking about? I was like, we saw this one. So we had done a lot of scenes.
Right.
So there's one of those scenes that we had done in the acting workshop, which he had shown to the director. And apparently that's basically the zone and the feel and the vibe and everything that the character was for the film. And that's how I happened to get my first acting film in the Telugu film industry.
And was the film dubbed completely, or how did you do the lines?
I come from a medical background. So for me, I cannot just say anything and not know what it means. So for me, the real challenge was to kind of convert it in my language, which was Hindi at the time. So I would basically, whatever lines were given to me, I would firstly write them down in my language, understand the meaning, and then learn it. So I am somebody who really needs to know, and I want to say the same words as well. So for me, that is what was challenging in the whole period of when I was doing my first Telugu film. But I would say my lines as is in Telugu. I didn't dub for it though, but I would make sure that when I'm on set,
So the lip sync would at least be correct.
Yes. So I think that was also a great way of learning the language. Because if you say the words, you kind of know how to enunciate those particular words. And which eventually I did think I wanted to learn the language. If I was given an opportunity, I think that's the least you could do as an actor. So
have you managed to pick up the language properly now?
yes, ippudu I can. Although I sometimes feel like, I get very conscious because the whole translation time from English to Telugu takes a few seconds for me. And I don't want to look like somebody who's just in her head all the time when I'm trying to respond in Telugu. But yes, now I can understand Telugu and I can speak as well.
So did you have any exposure to cinema at a younger age? You went to army schools and all that.
Right.
In fact, a lot of people I know who are actors come from army backgrounds.
It's uncanny.
What's this thing with
I don't know,
army kids becoming
honestly,
actors?
yes. And the funny part, I remember Gul Panag, when she went for Miss India. I was a kid at the time, and her father, General Panag, was there. He was in the same division as my dad at the time.
Which division is that?
This was 27 Div, I think, at the time when my dad was in army. So he happened to be there for something that was happening, and his daughter accompanied him at the time. So everybody was like, she's a Miss India, she's getting into acting. And I remember hearing all of this, and I remember it so vividly because I remember that she'd come to this mess that we have and she was greeting everybody. And I looked at it and I was like, she's so pretty. And, I got talking to her and she was like, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be like you. And she's like, wow, that's like different. So I think having seen all of that, and also Sushmita Sen is there, Aishwarya Rai, Preeti Zinta, and Anushka Sharma, all of these come from army backgrounds. And
Yeah.
I think it's got something to do with the whole bringing up process of it. I don't know what it is, but you are exposed to a lot of things that I don't think you otherwise get in civil as much, or that's what I believe. So there's a sense of confidence that comes in. There's a sense of this whole thing that you're exposed to. I remember my mom dressing up every other day when there'd be a party or an event in the army quarters or welfare associations. So, all of those things do kind of play a role in how you look at it. And we would have in-house army beauty pageants as well. So they would encourage all of those things. And I
Was
think
it for the wives or for the kids?
for wives, for kids, for everybody basically,
Okay.
So I think that kind of put us in a space of looking at it as one of the things that happens. It wasn't something that was like a big hoo-ha about it. There's nothing like that.
And what about the focus on like theater and stuff in army schools? Did they have any of that?
It
Or
was pretty basic as any other.
but then you did have school plays and stuff like that, and would you partake in it?
I would literally take part in everything. I was in the school debating society. I was in the school theater team. I was in the school editorial team. I was basically in everything. So I feel like there's a mix of everything that comes into play when I am in this field now. Be it speaking, be it, being in front of the camera. Although I'm a very shy and introverted person, like in real life. But I think there's another side of you that comes in, which you learn in theater, of course.
Yeah.
To kind of put that other side of you and try and make sure that is what kind of puts onus in it.
So the Atul Mongia course was the first exposure to professional acting for you?
Not really. I was doing a lot of acting workshops at the time.
What all have you
and,
done?
So there was this one that I did online because I think at the time Stella Adler's acting workshop was there, which was like an online workshop thing when they teach you
Okay.
the basics of it. Then there was one theater workshop that I did. I would do a lot of writing workshops. So these are like all basics, normal. There's a group that would come in and there's this thing called a spiral bound, which is basically for writing, for actors who aspire to do that. The main thing for me was to just try and get a hint of what this industry is really about, because I didn't want to get into it without any
Completely
knowledge of
clueless, yeah.
And even though people are like, oh, it's nothing, it's actually a lot more than that. Acting isn't just like being in front of the camera looking a certain way and just saying your lines.
Yeah.
There's so much more that goes into
There's
it.
discipline, showing up on time.
Absolutely. Well, part of that,
Yeah.
but also like, doing justice to the character that you've been given or you're playing. And there's a lot of work that goes into it. And specifically now that I'm doing it in a language which isn't my own. So there's a lot more that goes into what you would otherwise do. And for me, I did not want to get into it. So initially when I was being offered a few acting, projects, I said no to them because I just did not know what I would do.
This is straight after Miss India.
It was after Miss India. I was mostly into modeling. I would give auditions, but just for the heck of it, mostly I was doing ads and all of that. And when I kept saying no to it, I was like, you know what? I don't mind trying it and seeing if I like it. If I don't like it, I can just go back to what I'm doing and there's no loss. But why don't I try it? So that's when I kind of got into reading up about these, and there's different techniques of acting that you have, which I kind of learned in certain workshops, and what works best for you. Then there's so much more that opened up, and I was like, oh, there's so much more to acting than what meets the eye, and a lot of people don't know that. I think that's when I kind of started getting interested in acting, and I started giving auditions with a different approach of how I wanted to look at it. And I think that's how things started to change for me. And then, of course, the whole South entry happened.
So wait, what kind of acting techniques do you use? Because Stella Adler is quite different from
It
like
is.
what they teach in India.
Absolutely.
India
So-
goes more on the Meisner technique and
Correct.
more
So
acting
there's
schools.
Meisner, there's Stanislavski, which is more or less in the
The
lines
father of method acting.
Absolutely. But I think I do like to take bits and pieces from everything that works for me. So there's no one technique that would work. Like for
Like
some
do you
people,
rely on like sense memory or
a lot of that on my previous what emotions I'm attached to, or how I can relate to the character and how I can put my previous experiences to a particular scene that I am doing when I'm playing a character, or if there is something that I have never done or experienced, I would look up different things which is there on the internet or that people have done, or read up about those things and try and interpret that in my life. When you read up about it, when you see it, you kind of have some idea what you're getting into, because I don't want to just like get into it and see what it is. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, when you cry, even if it's a different emotion, you'll still cry the way you will cry, or
Yeah.
your way of crying is going to be different. But that does not mean the emotion is different. It's the same thing. It's just how you, your body as an instrument, is going to be doing that. So that is limited. So how would you play with that is something that I've done. So there's mixed memory, a lot of method also goes into certain parts that I would sometimes do different characters. But more often than not, it's more about relatability for me.
Okay.
If there's this particular scene, how do I relate to that? How would I be in that situation and play that? So for me, that becomes more of a natural process to do it.
How do these choices come about? Like, for example, now I know there's not a lot of auditions that necessarily go on in South films, but like if you're auditioning for something in Hindi or something, like when you get the audition scene, how do you make these choices that these are things that I would naturally do and I want to bring this to the scene? Like, where do these choices come from? Now, for example, if the scene is really far from who you are, say the scene is like a kleptomaniac serial killer who kills their own mother or something like
Right.
that, what would you leave out of your personality? Like, how do you make these choices for what you're going to bring into the scene?
Actually, those are the fun ones, because that's where you can actually get experimental and move out of your own space and see how you would do that. For that, I would firstly just look up the basic things that happen for a kleptomaniac. What is it? Like, how does it happen? What are the things? And then there's a certain body language that happens with people, which you can find on internet with previous people going through that. And based on the writer's vision, the director's vision, what do they have in mind of how they look at it? Because at the end of the day, it's still, unique to what they have in mind. So I would sit with them, even if it's an audition. I make sure that I get a correct representation of the character, because I just don't want to go about doing anything that's going to waste their time, it's going to waste my time. So once I am aware of the challenging part or the aspect of what the character is, and then I go on with the lines. But to
Okay.
understand the character, certain habits that they have, some you make on your own to kind of give that unique characterization sometimes, which you would see. For example, in a certain character, whenever she's nervous, she would just like start
Yeah.
like,
Restless
yes.
leg syndrome.
So,
Yeah.
or you would start like nibbling your nails. I'm saying these are the things that may not be written, or the director or the writer won't have it. But you, as an artist or an
It's
actor,
that layering thing, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So you would do that. I was like, what would I do in that space? So what have I seen that I can add to the character to make it more like it's in that space for the audiences to see as well? And for my character to have that sort of an individuality. And I think I like to do those little things. Sometimes
So do you watch people observe their body language and then
I
pick up from that?
I love people watching.
Or have you done the Bombay train?
No, but it's like I love doing that. Every time I'd go out when I'm with my friends, I just love looking at people.
Like creepily voyeuristic.
Not really creepily, but just like, like looking at them, just understanding how it is. Because, human psychology is such a fascinating subject. And acting is more or less about human psychology, like
Yeah.
how you would react to certain things, how people are in certain situations, given the scenarios, the places. So it's so interesting to see how, everybody is, because they're all so individualistic in how they react to whatever situation they put in, how they dress up, a lot of that. So there's so many things that you can take up as an actor to kind of give your character a meaning,
Is there anyone you've observed who body language or the way they talk that you've taken into a performance?
Yes.
And what was that?
So there's this thing I did Hit 2. which
Yeah,
is
I've seen it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in that I had to play this NGO worker who works for them, and it was actually my mum that I took inspiration from in terms of the dressing. So there's a very specific way of how those people are. They don't want to waste their time going about how they're looking. They just want to do the job look decent enough to be able to show up. Small things that my mum used to do is she used to wear the watch like this side, and the strap would be this
Oh,
side.
the watch
it's
is
like,
inside.
Yes. So those
Okay.
little things. So this goes very minutely into certain things of how I would put my character, and also a lot of things with hair, makeup, and costume. I like for my character to get more distinction and like that personality. For me, half of it comes in from that. Like, as much as I like to say
physicality
that,
of
yes,
the role.
I really like to put in that, because that makes my job easy. For me, if I'm convincingly in that space, if the look of it, kind of, for me, it's easy to get into the character. And I think it's different for different people, but for me, it becomes easier.
And now, you work with different kinds of directors. Every project is a different thing. So some directors follow like a technique where they would give you verbs to direct, what to direct you, and some directors would go more like the be angry, be sad. I mean, that kind of goes against the principle of acting school. But
Right.
how do you kind of like break away from what you've learned? Because it's hard to unlearn what you've learned.
Right, but I think along the working lines is what I have figured out is that at the end of the day, the director is only going to say, "Cut, okay, move on," if he's got what he wants, And every director is so different on how they work. So no amount of acting experience, no amount of you putting your homework, all of that is going to be of any use if the director is not convinced with it at the end of the day. So like they say, the director is the captain of the ship, and it is so true because a lot of the times it's him who decides how you want to be able to do a scene. Also because in the edit I don't know what's the next scene, how that's gonna go, and he has that entire picture and the frame in mind. So for me, I am a complete director's actor. Like I just give in to that, trusting him with the whole process and trusting that it's going to come out well. I don't really like use my brain too much but I don't think, I mean, I have my questions, but if he's telling me a reasoning to it, which I think makes sense, I will not fight it and I will comply with it. But yes, it is very challenging when they say, this is how be angry. And I'm
Be
like,
bubbly, like
be bubbly. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm like, what exactly do you mean by
Yeah.
that? And sometimes it'll be like, just give a cute expression. But I'm like,
Why?
what is a cute expression firstly? Like,
Yeah.
what qualifies as a cute
what's
expression?
cute for you may not be cute for me.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which actually happened in one of the films that I was a part of. And it was a constant, they're like taking retakes. They're like, this is not cute enough. Just be cute, be cute. I'm like, what does cute mean? Like, I don't understand what that is.
So in context to the scene, what was the need for you to be cute in that scene?
It's just, the reply has to be, so he says something and you just have to like very cutely say it. But I'm like that's
Are
not
you
enough
trying to
for
entice
me.
him? Are you trying to like
Just
what are the
react.
goal?
It's a very
Okay.
cute reaction. And it took me a few takes to kind of get what he meant with cute probably. So I was trying whatever different things I could in every take. Probably one will click and he'll be okay with it. So yes, I think that is a common thing that happens. But I think at the end of the day, I'm getting paid to do what I'm supposed to be doing, and they've taken me on for this. So he may have a different thing for the character on how they
Yeah.
react, and
It
I
works.
mean,
It's been working for him
yes.
till now. So like
Exactly.
yeah.
So I'm like, I might as well learn something new out of it because
Yeah.
you never know who and what kind of people you do come across. So for me, this is a training ground. Every film is a training ground. You learn something new. There's a different person with a very different way of working. So it's quite interesting to kind of, figure and maneuver your way out. And I think, like I said, human psychology. So it's also like psychologically playing with you at every point and every project with different people, how you kind of work with them. Sometimes it's very easygoing. Sometimes it's a bit challenging because it's completely different thought processes, with how
Yeah.
they think, how you look at your
It's
character,
also a
how
lot of
they...
people management, right?
It is.
How do you not piss someone off?
True.
Do you have like someone in the middle to like have the hard conversations? Like,
True.
like
True.
Minakshi's busy tomorrow. She can't come for shoot. Do you have someone
Right.
to do that for you? Or
I mean, you do have your managers in your team to kind of look out for
Yeah.
that. But when you're on set, you're on set, right?
Yeah.
So then it's you face the brunt or whatever it is. But yeah, it's a lot of ego massages. It's a lot of that. So you don't have to just do your job, but you have to make sure that you know how to be with people based on
yeah, because
how
if you're
they
not, if they consider you not likable, they're not going to call you for the next project.
which was, by the way, case for the longest time initially. Because see, I'm an introvert. I don't talk much.
Yeah.
I will probably see me even first. I don't go for much of like all these socializing things. And even if I do, I'd probably be sitting in one corner and just waiting for it to be over so that I can move back. So in those times, I think I come across as somebody who's unapproachable or very cold or not very social. But it's not true. I'm actually a fun person once you get to know me. But I can't do that. I can't do that in a setting when I don't know anybody or like I don't feel the need to do that. So I think that for me has been a challenge for a lot of people to understand.
So, despite majority of work coming from the south, why do you still live in Bombay though?
Yeah, because I think my friends are in Bombay. So,
Okay.
it's been
matter of comfort.
2018, is when I was, I was a Miss India winner and I stayed there. So kind of fell in love with the whole place, the whole vibe of Bombay. And I have my life there. Like my friends are there now. A lot of people that I know there. I stay there. I do intend on moving to Hyderabad soon. But yeah, so far it's just been there.
And what about Hindi auditions? Because I know I have casting directors who are friends, and when I tell them that this friend of mine's a Telugu actor, they automatically have a certain perception of them. Is that something that you face as well?
Not really, because I think I started off with the Hindi project. I started off with Out of Love, which was
Okay.
on Hotstar. It was season 1, season 2. Season 1 was directed by Tignanshu Dhulia.
Okay.
So, and it had like the likes of Rasika Duggal and Pura Kohli, who are like fantastic actors. So I think my schooling started from a very, what do you say, an excellent
This
setting.
happened before the Sushant film.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So this was happening while I was going in for that. So I had some time off in between. I wanted to just make sure I kind of keep doing what I was doing. That's when I kind of realized the industries work on very different standards and bases. Like it's completely different, their needs and wants and requirements. So yes, it's different from how I would sign a Telugu film and how a Hindi film would come in. There's a lot of other factors that come into play.
Like what?
Like for me, I would want to be able to like the character here, but in Hindi, I think they do a lot of what do you say? How to say it nicely, I would say.
You don't need to say it nicely.
The thing is, I'll tell you, this whole casting thing that has come in between.
You mean the casting directors, the agents?
Yeah, so I feel like this whole process is such an elongated process, and I do understand the need of wanting to get the right actors for the job and all of that. But I have been to certain auditions wherein I have given an audition based on what they would tell me, like a casting
Assistant.
And then they would call me again saying, oh, the director wants something else. But I'm like, why did you give me a different direction? Like, I would have just done it there. So I'm like,
Honestly, that's the biggest problem with casting directors.
and they don't know what they want. So I'm like, can I have somebody from the project tell me what exactly it is that you're looking for? As an actor, I'll do exactly what
Yeah.
I'm being told, but you need to tell me exactly what needs to be done. So
It's Chinese whispers. Not the AD, the director
Exactly.
tells the AD, the AD tells the
Exactly.
casting assistant, casting
By that
director,
time-
casting director tells the assistant. Assistant
Exactly.
wants to be an actor himself or herself. So they are trying to get what they would have done in the performance.
True.
It always messes it up.
it does. And
Yeah.
I'm like, are you okay with it? It's like, yeah, I think this works. And then they'll give you a reference of some other actor. And I'm like, so, it just, I don't really understand where they're going with that process of figuring to get the right fit for a character because they themselves are so confused about it. And it's happened so many times with me. So I don't really trust that process much. Whereas here in Telugu, I've had the director come, he would take a look test and he would do a few scenes. Actually, for my first Tamil film, they made me do the scenes. And that's how I was on board for the project.
Who were you reading the scenes with though?
So I did my first summer film called Kolai, and the director was Balaji K. Kumar, brilliant director. So they called me. I was shooting in Ooty at the time for season 2 of Out of Love, and they somehow saw some picture of mine. They were looking for a model who can act at the time. So they kind of came across my picture, and they were like, "Would you fly down? We just need to do a small test with you. If you like the script, of course." So once I read the script, I had a complete idea of what the director wanted. Like I knew exactly what he was looking in for the character. And when I did the test, he was like, and I did it in English because I wasn't well versed with Tamil at the time. And I learned my lines in Tamil. He gave me proper time and I did the scene. And that's when he was like, I think I've found it. So that happened only because he gave me a good brief. I had read the script. I knew exactly what they wanted. So if I look the part and if I can fit the part in terms of when I act, I mean, I think that's great casting done.
But
But-
how often would they give you a script?
Not very often. I think I got lucky with this one. Also because I think they really wanted me to be there and I asked them for a script.
Okay.
So, but in Hindi, that doesn't happen because they're like, we can't reveal
NDA, all that
of that.
nonsense,
So I'm
yeah.
like, how can I give you a scene when I don't know what the scene is?
Yeah, at least share a synopsis.
Exactly.
Or like
what happens
where-
before this? What happened? Why am I
Correct.
reacting like this?
Yeah.
What has happened in her life? Or what is the scene
True.
before? I'm like, there's so much. I can't just plainly read a scene and say the lines and be done with it, right?
But Telugu doesn't give scripts that often because they
They
don't. A
don't,
lot of them
yeah.
don't have scripts ready.
True, that's also
Yeah.
there. But as long as you give me, and if I ask them question, if they have answer to that, I'm more than happy to be able to give that in the scene that you're asking me to. But if you don't give me anything because you're not allowed to, how will I do my job of giving my best, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one struggle that I have with Hindi auditions.
But do you find certain casting directors easier to work with because of better teams and certain that are
Definitely. I think a lot of it has got to do with the people that you have on board in your team and how do they kind of help you get through it? Because I'm pretty sure for them also it's about getting the right person, right?
Yeah.
And for us also it's about getting the right job and doing the right job. But sometimes it happens when I feel like they're just doing it for the sake of doing it. So then I'm like, why am I even being called if you probably have somebody else in mind? Just because you want to like add up.
Show
and-
that you've done it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm like, don't do that. Like, it'll waste my time as well. Just be honest with me, you know, like,
Yeah.
I won't be mad at you because if it's not meant for me, it's not happening anyway, right?
I mean, for Archie's, they went around casting for 6 months.
I mean, imagine that. And-
Everyone I know has auditioned for it.
And then, you know, if they already had people in
Yeah.
mind, I'm like, why waste my time, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I'm okay with it. Don't give it to me, but don't waste my time calling me and then, you
True.
know? So,
No, it has, and it also it's about appearances. No, Netflix will want you to
True.
do a certain amount because Netflix and all these OTT platforms have made it so corporate. They've made it so corporate that every single change that you make in a script has to be pre-approved. You
True.
can't change anything. They'll cancel your project without.
Absolutely.
They'll sue you. Like,
absolutely.
It's,
I think this whole corporate structure that has taken over now, especially in Bollywood or
Yeah.
Hindi spaces, is become more of, you know, a lot of these things.
yeah, so much red tape, and half the people aren't even from the film
Right.
industry who work over there. So they have no idea what they're talking about to give you feedback.
Well, you said it.
I mean, I say
So
it
it's like
all the
more
time.
of the business corporate
Yeah.
structure, and then so the creative mind is going to function very differently.
Yeah.
And then you have a business and a corporate structure added to that. Now that's the industry we're in right now.
And you probably have to deal with that a lot because every single actor has to be approved by the platform. The director will want a certain actor. They'll
Correct.
send the audition. They'll be like, no, we want this person because we have 3 films with them signed already.
Absolutely.
So that happens so much. I mean, like
Right.
good and bad things about it.
True.
What about now Tamil? Have you started learning the language? How are you picking it up?
Yes. So that's the thing. You know, I love whenever I'm doing a certain project, I love to kind of learn the language as much as I can, or at least try and say the words in that particular language. Because for me, I don't want to just say it like how people would be like, you can just mime it to say it. But I'm like, I won't feel it. I won't be able to say it right, you know. So just how I started with Telugu, I started doing that with Tamil as well. And now I can also speak that, not very well, but I'm learning.
How did it work for you? Where like you after you finished Miss India, did you straight up know that okay, I'm going to start doing some acting workshops, or did you first start doing modeling gigs and then like work towards that?
Not at all. Actually, in fact, after that, I was very sure I wanted to go back and finish my studies. I was in my 3rd year of dentistry at the time when I became Miss India. So you have to take a 1-year gap because I had to be in Bombay to be able to, you know, there's like a contract thing that happens when you have to be there, stay there, fulfill the duties of the winners that they have there. So I was like, okay, might as well try something new while I'm here for a year. Like, you know, that's how I got into modeling. And in fact, the funny thing is the first ever official photo shoot that I got done was during the Miss India.
Okay.
I had never done anything like a shoot or, you know, anything related to modeling before
You
that.
never did the army pageants.
Never. I was just an observer looking, wanting to be there, but I
Okay.
never was a part of it. I was so shy. And I never thought I, you know, could do that as well. Although in my head, I wanted to try for it. So I had planned that after I finish my studies is when I'll give it a try. But it was just going to be like, I'll give it a try. I don't want to like get too, you know, what do you say, stuck up on that. But certain events happened in my life that I was like, okay, let me just go for it now. Since I wasn't in the right mind space to be able to focus on my studies. And I was like, let me just keep myself busy doing this. And that's how it happened. And I happened to win also. And then that's how the thing started. But the thing about modeling was I had to face the camera and I had no sync. My body was different. My head is different. I don't know what I was posing, how I'm looking, what are the angles. I had no knowledge whatsoever. And it took me a few first. In fact, I remember I was booked for a few shoots and they all cancelled after the first, you know, modeling gig that I did. And I felt so bad. And I was like, am I really good at it? Because I just won Miss India. Like, am I not good enough for this? And that's when I started doing my homework. I went through like magazines and YouTube videos on how to pose, what are the angles, how to know what works best for you. I did that and then I started kind of improving in my thing of modeling. So even though people say that, modeling is just like showing up, and it's not that. There's so much more if you really want to be good at it.
Yeah, I mean, you know yourself to be able to do it, right?
Exactly. I had to kind of get out of my own insecurities and bubble to be able to face the camera, because you're naked in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that modeling helped me learn, which kind of came in handy during my acting. And a lot of us are so consumed with like how we look, what works best for us, what is right, what is not right. And I think the more you get consumed in that, you'll never be able to fully put yourself out there. And that's something that I had to unlearn. Because in Miss India, you are trained to look a certain way, to be a certain way, to sit a certain way, stand a certain way. And I'm like, I had to learn all of that to be raw, to be real, to just be. Because acting is all about that.
It's also a lot of muscle memory, because now, for example, if you're acting, camera is here,
Right.
your hair can't be over here, right?
Right, right.
So, I mean, that is muscle memory that you would push your hair back. It's not
Exactly.
a conscious choice or you're making.
Absolutely. And also even if you're looking here, but you have to make sure that you just don't look too away from the camera,
Yeah.
so that whatever it is that you're trying to showcase, it still works in handy. So these are the few things that you learn while you're at the job.
Yeah.
I didn't learn any of it in any of the, like workshops that I was doing. Most of it was to get into the space of being able to act.
And
first.
lose your inhibitions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then learn into this whole part of the small things that you learn, the tricks and trade of the
Like
job.
continuity, like what
Yes.
shoulder did I turn on in the wide shot in the close up?
Absolutely. And if you know how much to turn if it's a close up, or how much to turn if it's like a wide shot, how much of it is going to make an impact on whatever it is that you're doing. So all of those things you learn with the, you're doing the job, and you learn with time.
So, what mistakes did you make while in your earlier films to kind of learn these things?
So
Were there any major like mistakes where like you
Oh
messed
my
up the whole
God.
day of shoot?
Yeah, not like the whole day of shoot, but I would take a lot of takes just figuring the basics out sometimes. Like when I'm talking to you, but I forget that I have to favor the camera as well. So I'm like talking to you, and they're like, can you just like this side and do the same thing, but just keep in mind that you have to be there. So I was like, but I don't feel like I'm doing it, in
Yeah,
real
the
time
eye line is
space.
slightly different at certain angles, right?
Yeah, so those things I had to train myself to kind of learn how to do that, and I would keep missing my spot. You have to stop exactly
At
at
the
that
light
time,
cues.
as if it's exactly like you do it on your own, but it's so technical. That's where the final stop
Are
happens.
you a sandbag person or an
Yes.
X person or a...
Initially, I thought I couldn't do without a sandbag, because I would just go my way. They're like, oh, out of focus. I'm like, it was a great thing, but just because I couldn't stop at the right time at the
Yeah.
right spot. So all of those things are, like things that I learned along the way, but I would just mess up all the time with those, like the right spots, but not seeing there also, and then just like acting as if this is exactly where I would stop and turn and look and
Yeah,
talk.
because you can't be looking at the ground ki cross kidhar hai, na?
And nobody would know this, right?
Yeah.
Like for you, it's just like happening, stopping, and all of that. But there's
Correct.
so much that's happening. The lighting is falling right at this time, at this spot. They will focus on you. They'll go close on you. So there's so much that you have to think about while you're doing the acting.
Yeah.
So it's very different.
So how many days of, after how many projects do you think this became muscle memory for you?
After I think my first and second film, also because I was blessed with a great team. Like my actors were very patient if I would mess up, or my director would come up and tell me, so it's this, in this you can do this. They would guide me through it. So I didn't feel too embarrassed to, ask them, okay, how do I go about it? Because I think I was very closed as a person. And I was like, I don't want to make a mistake. I just want everything to be perfect, which is impossible, you know,
Yeah.
especially when I am new, I'm learning the whole thing. I don't know how it goes. And it's a different language as well in South as well. I think I was blessed with a great team, and I still am. I'm so lucky and grateful to be getting to work with the right people. And that really helps you.
And do you think like you have to be quite sure of yourself to be able to not be bogged down by these mistakes that you make? How do you kind of like get up from them? Because for example, now if you've messed up a certain scene, like I'm not assuming that you did, but if you did,
Yeah.
and you can't take that same energy into the next scene, how do you kind of like compartmentalize those thoughts? Is there something you do to kind of break away? Like for example, a friend of mine who would he had this one song he would listen to between scenes. So and it would like kind of like it was a refresh button for him.
Right.
Do you have something like that you?
Not really,
fall
but
back on?
initially I used to find it very difficult because then I'm stressing about forgetting that one word that I can't move ahead or just messing up at that particular time. And I'd be like, I don't think. But what I do is if I feel like it's getting to that, I like to take some time off, like take a break, take a breather, like just go through it and not stress about it and then come back again. I don't feel that I don't want to get into that thinking about this whole thing of not work because it's very normal. In fact, I've seen some of the best actors do that and not feel it. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. It could be anything. It could be the personal thing that could be coming in, maybe not a great day for you. And some days are not great. It's okay. You know, it took me a lot of time to understand not every day is going to be like a clapping moment on the scene, like you've done a fantastic. Some days you just go through it and it's okay. Make sure you do the best you can. And it's all right. So there were days when I'd be like, why is this scene not coming out? And it's a simple scene. I could just crack the toughest of scenes. And I'm like, why am I not able to do this simple scene? What's happening? Why is it not coming right? And I would just beat myself too hard for that sometimes. I'm like, why can't I get it right? But I think eventually, and I also would speak about the same thing with a lot of other actors. And they said, you know, some days are great, some days are just like that. It just happens.
It's work also, right?
It is.
It's not a 9 to 5 job.
Exactly.
It's a 6 to
Exactly.
6 job or
And
whatever.
sometimes a night shift. So
Yeah.
like, you know, you don't have to be too hard on yourself. And you're with that one project for a long time as well. It gets to you. So many things happening on set. And sometimes it's just not you messing up. It's so many other things, other factors. Maybe the light is not there, the weather's gone wrong, or
Your co-star,
Yes, so
someone,
many.
equipment's late, anything could
or
happen.
exactly some continuity issue is happening in the
Or
background.
a guy
art
doing
department.
the podcast shows up 1 hour late.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like so yeah, things like that
Anything
happen
can
all the time. But you just gotta make do with whatever
Yeah.
is possible with you and the best way possible. So I think that is something that I learned along the way.
So, what would you say was the hardest part of? I mean, like, it did happen quite early on for you, like your first film and stuff. And if you're not your first film, your first web series. But what's been the hardest part since then to now, like post Miss India to now, since you started pursuing acting?
I think it is for me personally because I kind of found that very difficult. Is to just have a thick skin, not take everything very personally and take it to heart. Because I would just, whatever somebody would say, I would be like, oh no, I can't do it. Or they're just like scolding me for probably a dance master would be like that with everybody, I'm sure. But I would think, oh, he did it with me. Or, you know, a director would. So I think the most important thing in this industry is to have a very thick skin. You do your job, you make sure you do the best you can. People will say things, and it's not just the people you work with.
It's
People-
everyone in the world.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. And you cannot make everybody happy. And you have to make peace with that. Some people will like you, some people will not like you. And for me, that initially was very difficult because I was like, what have I even done for them to not do that? I would just get into that space. And that's a very, I would say, not nice space to get into because then you're constantly thinking about the things that are not going right instead of doing what is actually going right. And that's one thing to go by. So the only thing that I would say that really was very important is to not take everything to heart. Just keep doing what you're doing as long as you're happy with it and as long as you know that you're doing the best you can, evolving with every project as a person as well. I think that for me has been the biggest learning.
And in terms of finding gigs, finding work, how do you go about finding casting directors to approach? Because I mean, you have lakhs of people emailing them, showing up at their offices randomly. How do you get them to call you?
I think because I literally went for every other casting that was happening in my early days.
So you like would just roam around Aram Nagar.
Basically. So
Yeah.
there was no Aram in Aram Nagar happening. I would just go for like before lunch, I decided, okay, I'm going to go for these 3. And then after lunch, I'd go for these. There were days. So I used to stay in Bandra at the time and I would plan my day in such a way wherein I would just finish off and make sure I make the most of that day out that I was going. Because I literally had to work at the time. And I would just do modeling to be able to pay my rent and, you know, like somehow manage
And
and
Bandra
survive.
rent.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like,
Yeah.
but that was the only place I knew at the
Yeah.
time. When I came to Bombay, I stayed in Bandra in the Miss India house. And then I didn't know any other place but Bandra. So I was like, okay, let me just stay in Bandra here. So
I did the
metro's
same
my...
thing when I moved to Bombay. Then I moved to Veera Desai 2 years later.
Yeah, so I shifted to Andheri.
Yeah. That's
That
when
was-
reality hits you.
Exactly. And also you realize, why am I paying so much and I'm not even staying there half the time?
Yeah.
And but that aside, I felt like because I was literally there at every other casting office's door, they kind of knew me from before. So now I get calls for like, whatever, this project is happening, this is the thing, would you be interested? Now it's more about if I'm interested. I didn't have that choice before, but I do have that choice now. So I think, yeah, that's a good change.
And what about shortlistings? Now, I mean, out of every 10 roles you do, you get shortlisted for 200.
Right.
Shortlistings are something that I feel a lot of people get their hopes up on when they start off. Like a lot of actors have also told me, like, they just gotten into acting. They've been like, I got shortlisted for this American Netflix show. And I was like, yeah, you got shortlisted.
Oh,
It's very far from
Not the
being
same, yeah.
casted.
yeah.
So, like, was that something that kind of like also you had to face, like, where you had your expectations higher when you first started off saying things are happening, but then they just were shortlistings?
Yeah, and there's this thing that you'll never be told if you're not selected for it. It'll just be
Yeah,
there in the
yeah.
air. You'll
3,
just
4
have
months
to,
you're just waiting.
Yeah, so you just have to figure it out for yourself. Maybe that's not happening, And there've been days wherein I would get a call after 4 months saying that, the director wants to meet you now. And I gave that audition, I don't know, ages back.
Yeah.
So I have now come to not take it seriously. I would do my part
And forget about it.
Forget about it. That's the only way to go about it. Or else you'll just be sucked up into that whole cycle of like, is it happening? Is it happening? It's just beating around the bush when they also don't honestly, even they have no idea what's happening. Half
Yeah.
the times I've auditioned for shows that have actually got cancelled.
Yeah.
Like not
Shows have
happening.
started and gotten cancelled.
Exactly. So I'm
Yeah.
saying so many things and factors come into play when that whole casting process is going on. It's more often than not, it's not you. It's basically other aspects of it also that's they have to take into account. So I don't take it very seriously, and I knew this from before. Also because I knew I had a backup plan, so I didn't have to like rely too much on
Which
on-
was
to go back and
dentistry.
finish my studies. I was not even like in this. I was
Yeah.
doing this. I was like, I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to make sure that I'm here. I don't want to waste a single day that I'm away from my family. That's the mindset I had. That if I'm here, I'm going to make sure every day counts. But I did not take it to my heart that if I get it and if I don't. If I don't, I'm going to go back.
Do you plan on finishing it?
I finished it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you end up finishing it?
2 years back.
Okay.
So it was a long process. It took me 6 years to finish it, even though it's a 5-year course. But
So do you guys like use the thing and like have fun with it?
not really.
No, that's not a thing
and
you
now
guys do.
and now I'm like fully into this. So I just wanted to get done with that because my mom was like, you do whatever you want to do in life, just finish the degree and come back. I don't want you to see something midway and then not finish it. That's another thing that I also have in mind. I don't want to like incompletely leaving anything and then just doing around and then not doing that. I hate that. It's an OCD of mine.
What about training? Like, do you still do workshops to kind of like?
Yes.
So between projects, how do you balance the time between them?
So off late, I have been trying to work a lot on my voice because that's something that I realized I did not really work on too much when I got into acting. And I feel
Voice
that,
as diction? You mean diction
no,
and
just
language?
like your
or-
voice. I
Okay.
feel like that thera, I don't know how you say that, like that there's so much that goes on with your voice.
Like the sound needs to come from here, not from
yeah,
here.
and different emotions. Like your breathing is so important, which I kind of learned very early on. I could literally change the feeling that I was having or the emotion just by my breathing, and that's a great tool that I learned like while I was getting into this. So small things that play a huge role into enhancing how you can be a better actor. But the thing is, people don't think of it as a big thing. They're like, oh no, you have to get into the character, you have to get into the skin. But what are the things that you do to get into that?
Yeah.
It starts off with breathing, it starts off with your movement, it starts off with probably working on your voices, where for me, I feel like that's something that I want to work on.
One big thing is also what do I do with my hands?
Exactly. Like when I'm like, what do you do initially?
Because I
was
see
just
so
think-
many actors with their hands
Yes.
right to the side, and I'm like,
Yes.
no one stands like that in real life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, there's this camera consciousness that happens. You may not think of it, but it's a thing. It's actually a thing. And you're like, now there's a wide shot of the same thing, but in the continuity, I was like this, and I can't move my hand like that. It'll look awkward. But in the wide shot, it's going to look even more awkward. Like if it wasn't here, but
Yeah.
you can't like just keep it here. So all of those things, I was like, what do I do? What's the alternative for that? So there are certain things that you kind of have to learn while you're at it, but I think it starts off with the basics. Get your basics right. And even though it looks like it's nothing, it's doing nothing to my acting, eventually does pay off. And I think breathing was one of those things.
So can you give me an example of how you use breathing? Like, have you ever had the instance where you had to use breathing as a tool to do a better take? And
Yeah.
how did you use it?
So there's this thing which is like when you are in a very nice and peaceful space, you're breathing very normally. Like it just happens at that. But when you're angry, start breathing like very like fast. Like there's like short breaths happening, or when you're very scared. So I was like, sometimes when I don't want it to look fake of that I'm scared, that I'm running, or you know, something of that sort has happened, it's looking fake that I'm trying to do too much. You can only exaggerate with your facial expressions
Yeah.
that much. You can't like go too much, right? And that's when I realized if I do that breathing of how I would feel when I'm actually in a position like that, it did help in making it look real, and also like for me to get into that space better. So I myself felt like I was in it.
So now a lot of actors also want to know, like, how do you train to become actor? Because it's not only about wanting to be an actor. It's about the 10 years or 5 years or 7 years of work that goes into becoming an actor, like training and stuff.
Right.
So now for actors who do not have a budget to be able to afford to go to an acting course, what would you recommend them to do to start with?
See, if you're really serious about this, you have to understand it's a never-ending job. You just don't think that you do this for a few months and then
You'll
be
get
an actor.
rewarded for it.
No, it's not
Yeah.
like that. It's. I still work on it. There are days when I literally do breathing exercises, or I would say like facial muscle exercises, or make sure I maintain my body. A lot goes into using your instrument, which is your body, to make it fit for acting. Apart from that, and like you said, if you cannot go to an acting workshop, don't have to have an acting workshop in your resume to say you can, you've done this. There's so many YouTube videos. There's so much on the internet. Like I said, I would just keep on reading about things by books. You can literally get secondhand books in Aram Nagar, around places in
You
and
get
out
free
of
books
Lokanagar.
on PDFs.
Literally.
Yeah.
So I'm like, have that space, but you have to put in the work. Nothing's going to come in easy. You just can't think that even if you go to an acting workshop, they'll teach you and you're now an actor. It's not like that. You have to practice. I've seen so many people who would name you the list of workshops they've attended, theater work they've done, but they just do it then and they don't continue
They
it.
don't continue.
And
to
that
realize.
is the biggest flaw. I'm like, you can spend all the money you want, but if you do not practice that, there's no way you'll be able to get into that space. And I think that is a continuous process. With so much available on the internet, you have to see what works for you. There's no one way.
And what do you think about theater? Like, have you ever thought of doing it? Do you watch plays at Prithvi?
I did, yeah. I have a lot of my friends who are into that. It's a
Okay.
lot of work.
Yeah.
And like I said, the best thing about that, they will do the art.
Yeah.
Like they will do the music part.
Yeah.
They will do the props is them. The direction is by them. So everything is done as a teamwork. So you're not just doing the acting bit of it. You're literally learning everything else. And I feel like that is so important for an actor. So when I have my friends and they keep doing that, I just don't get the time to be able to do that, because you need to have like a month just to be able to prepare for that play. I hope I get to do that sometime soon, just for an experience. But when I look at them, you realize there's a certain sense of confidence that comes in,
Yeah.
because they know what they're doing, the good ones. And it's not just about acting, it's about knowing the right sur and tal of when that music comes in, how that comes in, how to react, and like everything.
And also
So-
being in the moment. In films, you get a retake. Over here,
You don't.
If your prop shows up 2 minutes late,
Exactly.
you have to improv for 2 minutes and
Right,
like keep the
right.
audience captivated.
It's so fascinating and interesting how that world functions, and they're not given enough credit. And I'm like, why? They do so much,
Yeah.
and I feel like we need more of that to be pushed.
So last thing I just wanted to ask you was, how do you pick your projects? Do you the projects that you do for the money, the projects that you do for the soul.
Yes.
So how do you balance that?
Some for the soul, some for the kitchen, which is a fact, because this is the only job I have. And I think there has to be the right kind of balance. Some that truly like satisfies you and makes you realize why you're in this field. Because oftentimes when you just keep doing something for the commercials of it, it kind of if you're truly an artist, I think it gets sedentary after a point,
Do you
and it does
consider
not.
yourself an artist now?
I do think that I
So you love
realized
what you do also?
yes, because I remember saying no to certain projects which would have been really great with the packaging of everything else, but I just couldn't see myself in them. And I was like, there's nothing that I'm going to be contributing in this. It's just going to be there for the sake of it. And I don't want to do that. Like, those will keep coming in your life. But then if there's one film that's probably paying you a little less, but it truly is something that you would want to do, or you can see yourself, or probably show your kids 10 years later that, you know what, okay, this is something that I truly love. I would want to balance it out. I just don't want to do one kind of cinema for one reasoning. But of course, that is also important. I think it's all about balancing it as an artist. Again, some you do because you truly love doing it, but the other you also got to do because for the
For the
kitchen.
bills, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna pay your bills,
Yeah.
and that's important.
What is a character that you picked that you really wanted to play and you got to play it and you didn't get paid
Oh, didn't get paid.
as much as you normally would for it?
I think
you
it's
did it for the
because
film.
I did it even if I was not paid anything. Also, I would have done that film. That was my first film, Kollai,
Okay.
Tamil film that I did. I think it's my favorite film so far of the work that I've done. Only because the amount that I had to kind of go through, like transform myself. Like it was a lot that I put into that, and also since it was my first Tamil film, I really wanted to do a good job. That I did solely because I loved the script and I loved the people I was working with. So it didn't matter, at the end of the day about that, because I knew I was getting so much more with the brilliant people that I was working with. It was like basically getting paid, but it's more or less a learning school for you. So you're getting paid to learn. And that for me was a bigger takeaway than what
Okay.
I was being paid. Yeah.
Take it. And any closing words of wisdom for your fans?
I would say that don't give up. Because the funny story is, I had almost given up on acting when I was going in door to door for every audition. And,
Why? Why did you want to quit?
Because nothing was translating into something. Like I would go for auditions and I would just, like you say, like you give and eventually 10. But for me, out of 100, not even one was happening. And I was like, am I that bad? You start doubting yourself. Is it really made for you? Should I just give up? Or should I just change my line? I should just be realistic about it. That whole realistic factor, which is also important, I feel like in today's time and date, because you can't just be going on your entire life doing something if it's not,
Yeah.
because you got to ultimately pay your bills.
Hustle.
Exactly. And you never know if it's a redirection as well. So I was so confused at that point if I want to continue. I remember I told my mom, I think I'm just going to come back.
Where is back?
Punjab. Go back, finish my studies in Chandigarh, and move on and probably think about something else.
Your mom still lives in Chandigarh?
Yes.
Okay, she hasn't moved to Bombay.
No.
Okay.
So because my brother's still there, he's still finishing his studies.
A younger
So,
brother.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like in a very dejected phase of my life, which I think every actor goes through when they're in that struggle period. But it was just when I decided I think I'm going to give up. 1 week later is when I got a call and I said I've been finalized for this show of Out of Love. And I was like, it's funny how life sometimes takes a turn and things work for you. So I had almost given up and I was still in the process of like figuring out, looking at my chances, but then you get a call. So I would say just at least go till the very end and don't just leave midway. It was only after 100, 200 auditions is when probably you would like think about it, but don't see like 30 and it's not working. It's not, 30 is nothing, if that's what you're going into.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot more than that for you to feel like maybe nothing's working. And when it's meant for you, it'll happen. So you got to put in the work, but so I think never, ever, ever think anything less of yourself. If it's not working out, it's not you. It's probably a redirection is what I say to a lot of actors, to be very realistic as well, but to also not give up when you feel like it is something that you can do well with in your life. Because
And that's the only time you ever considered quitting.
yes,
Chalo, we're done.
yes.
Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe.